Okay, how's it going, everyone? John Lowell here, and I just wanted to go over a couple things that are related to my past two videos, and I'll show you right now. So, if anyone has seen my last two videos, I've been connecting Assassin's Creed a little bit to like conspiracies and I guess whatever you want to say. I'm not gonna put any gestures out there, but right here, this person is Minerva, and in the end of Assassin's Creed, I think it was 2, and you talk to her, and you figure all this stuff out, and she's not a god of a type, but she says she's not a god. She says she's somebody who came before, but I wanted to just start going right into it and talking about who she is. So, Minerva was the Roman goddess of wisdom and strategic warfare, and the sponsor of arts, trade, and strategy. She was born from the head of Jupiter, fully armed and clad in armor. After impregnating the Titaness Metis, Jupiter called a prophecy that his own child would overthrow him. Okay? So, she's a child of Jupiter who would, I guess, overthrow him. And fearing that the child would grow stronger, then he and rule the heavens in his place, Jupiter swallowed Metis whole, which is the, I guess, mother of Minerva, I would say. Titaness forged weapons and armor for her child, while within the father god, and the constant pounding and ringing gave him a headache, blah blah blah. Okay, I'm not gonna keep going and reading all this stuff. But basically, you can understand this has Greek and Roman mythology, goddesses, stuff like that. Now there's different types of Minerva, or Menvra, or Minerva, whatever you want to call her. But animals is Owl of Minerva. Let me go to that really quickly. I want to see if that is what I believe to be the drake. Which it is. Okay. Now, let me see. Owl of Athena, Owl of Minerva. I'm looking for the specification, but it doesn't say it. But a lot of things you see with Minerva or Athena, or whatever, they're all the same goddess, just different interpretations. Or same god or goddess, whatever you want to say. There's always like an owl. She's got armor, specific symbolic meanings. But yeah, you can look up to see what the drake is and all that stuff, which is also coincidentally, there's a famous rapper named Drake, and from one of his album covers is a drake. Everything you have to remember is symbology or symbolism. Everything has a symbolic meaning, but you don't know that because you're not looking for it. It is being implanted, I would say, subconsciously into your head, into the, back, basically. Not your conscious mind where you're always thinking and stuff like that. It's just in your subconscious, your background thoughts, things you don't think of. Minerva is featured on coinage of different Roman emperors. There's also a flag. Minerva is, what is it? It's very high up figure, you could see, I would say, in all aspects. And if you say to me, I think Minerva in this picture kind of looks like Statue of Liberty. I mean, I guess different color, but I'm not going to get too much into that. It starts talking about how the use by societies and governments, it's Seal of California right here. Hellenic style temples in Guatemala. There's all kinds of stuff. You can look into this all you want. Public monuments. Monument Square, Portland, Maine. University of North Carolina, Greensboro. There's a Roman shrine to Minerva. It stands in Hanbridge, Chester. Blah, blah, blah. Minerva is the name of a supercomputer at the Albert Einstein Institute in Potsdam, also known as Max Planck Institute for Gravitational Physics. So you could see, I mean, they have to tie in the same thing with all these things. They have to connect all of it to one specific thing, because it's all related. All of it's related. Right here, the Assassin's Creed, what I was getting into. Minerva is a recurring character in the Assassin's Creed franchise as a guide to Desmond and later potential foil for Juno, a main antagonist for the series. You know, you gotta play the games to understand that. But, so there's all kinds of things like that. Blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I'm not gonna get too much into it. But there's another thing that Minerva is, I guess, connected to. Not directly per se, I would say indirectly. And I had to really do some researching, and I found this. So I go to Wiki, Library of Congress. So, like I said, I was just doing some researching, all kinds of stuff like that, because I do this all the time. Like, I don't mean just as on the computer, you know, I'll be sitting around the house, I'll be on my phone or whatever. Stuff like that. I'm just always, like, looking into stuff, reading, researching. So, the Library of Congress is a research library that officially serves the United States Congress and is the de facto National Library of the United States. It is the oldest federal cultural institution in the United States. It's the oldest federal cultural institution in the United States. The library is housed in 3 buildings on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. It also maintains the Packard campus in Culpeper, Virginia, and houses the National Audiovisual Conservation Center. So, the Library of Congress claims to be the largest library in the world. I don't know about that, but you'll see how many books and stuff they got. It's quite a lot. So, yeah. I would quite believe that. I wouldn't dispute that. Like, I would totally agree with that fact that it is probably the largest library in the world. Its collections are universal, not limited by subject, format, or national boundary, and include research materials from all parts of the world and in more than 450 languages. 2/3 of the books it acquires each year are in languages other than English. Okay. Now, the Library of Congress was moved in 1800, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about that stuff. Let's see. So right here was something interesting. The Congressional Library was housed in the United States Capitol for most of the 19th century until the early 1890s. Most of the original collection has been destroyed by the British in 1814 during the War of 1812. Okay, so I just want to clarify this part up. This is one thing that I found myself was very significant. So what was considered to be and is considered to be, I'm not going to say that it was back then, but you could say that this library probably had very significant books of all sorts of, like, knowledge, all kinds of things, like just anything culturally, languages, ancient history. So if there was a book that you needed, in my eyes, you would go to the Congressional Library, which had basically every book you ever think of. I mean, they make copies of books in there because there's so many of them. But so like I said, most of the original collection had been destroyed by the British in 1814. So, that being the case, we don't know what we lost, or as of right now. I mean, I don't know if there's history beyond what we know. I don't know if there was records being kept of what was lost, but I don't think there are, because they are all lost. We didn't have computers or anything like that back then. Everything was paper. But to restore its collection in 1815, the library bought from former President Thomas Jefferson his entire personal collection of 6,487 books. That's a lot of books for one man. 6,487. Now, I don't care if you say you're a reader or whatever or you do a lot of reading. Like I said, I do a lot of reading too, but I don't read books that often. I have read a few books in the past, but you know, to get into a book, you got to be interested in that subject. So that's where I lay the line. But this man had an entire personal collection of 6,000 and almost 500 books, and he gave it to the Library of Congress back in 1815. So that's pretty interesting. Obviously, he's connected with all the same things as well. I mean, he is one of the founding fathers of the nation, so he probably felt as if it was his duty, I could say. But to hurry this up here, so there's a little bit of history about this place. Here's some pictures for you. Between the part where they're building the new one, I guess. I don't know. Oh no, this is the construction of the Thomas Jefferson building from 1888 to 1894. Okay. But that's not, I don't want to get into any of this. I'm just trying to get past all of it. Okay, right there. Erotica, mural painting by George Randolph Bears in the Library of Congress. Yeah, I have no idea what this painting means, but it's named Erotica. So, like I said, all subliminal messaging. I could already assume what that would be leaning towards. You know, possibly it's in a different language. I don't know, so whatever. This is Elihu Vedder's Minerva of Peace Mosaic. Let me look at that real quick. Like I said, I gotta finish this. So, the Library of Congress is connected to Minerva in some way, shape, or form, in a manner. So here's Minerva, all that stuff, you know. In armor, here's the rising sun image, symbolism. Here's some kind of script. I don't know what that's supposed to read, but I don't know. Here's the, I guess you could say the ball, right? The ball earth. Some kind of angelic being on top of it. But right here is the owl. You got the little Drake owl right there. Don't forget it. Symbolism and meaning. So, let me go back real quick before I lose my time here. Just trying to skip down to the bottom of the page for you. Okay, so what the Library of Congress also has is right here. Something called the Minerva Initiative. Hey, look at that. And the Minerva Initiative is a research program sponsored by the United States Department of Defense that provides and grants to sustain university-based social science studies on areas of strategic importance to U.S. national security policy. The program looks to tap into the community of area specialists and other university researchers, particularly to those who work on Islam, Iraq, China, and related areas. Okay, so since 2008, the Department of Defense has been awarded over 70 grants to private researchers, and grants are awarded on an annual basis for the research projects that typically last 3 years. Okay, there's a lot more stuff. You can, like I said, do all the research you want. I'm not going to cherry pick anything else for you, but the Library of Congress has this thing, and then you can go into this. There's some controversy over it. I want you guys to look into that. For whatever case it may be, but all this stuff is connected in some way, shape, or form to like gods, goddesses, everything's related. Also, if there's anything you ever would want to find from a book, or any book that you probably think doesn't exist anymore, but probably does, it's going to be, a copy of the Gutenberg Bible right there. It's going to be in this library, I'd say, if any book of significance was there. And they have millions and millions of books and all that stuff, but I gotta go. So thank you for listening, and join me back next time.